I'd like to discuss the recent marches in London led by Tommy Robinson, and I'd like to look into the context surrounding these events and explore what this might indicate about the future and the motivations of these marchers. My I think Tommy Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, is a British activist known for his outspoken views on Islam and immigration. And he first gained prominence as a co founder and a leader of the English Defence League, and a far right organisation established in 2009 to protest against what they perceive as the spread of Islamic extremism in the UK. And Robinson left the EDL in 2013, citing concerns about the group's direction and the prevalence of extremist elements within it. Throughout his career, Robinson has been a polarising figure. Supporters view him as a defender of free speech and a critic of radical Islam, while detractors accuse him of promoting Islamophobia and fostering division. And his activities have led to multiple legal actions, including convictions for assault, fraud, contempt of court. The marches going on at the moment in support of Tommy Robinson, these events have drawn significant attention, both those who share his views and counter-protesters who oppose them. And the marches are typically characterised by heightened security measures, substantial police presence to prevent clashes between the opposing groups. For instance, during previous demonstrations, iconic landmarks like the statue of Winston Churchill, now boarded up, and the cenotaph um, have been targeted because with vandalism and unrest, and protecting these monuments underscores the tension that such events generates within the community. Robinson has faced legal challenges, and why on earth would he return to the UK when he faces a threat of arrest? And it just makes me wonder that, maybe he's just self obsessed or obsessed with his own notoriety. Being physically present in the UK allows for greater media exposure, enabling him to broadcast his messages more effectively. And maybe he feels he needs to re engage with his activism more directly. But this question about the notoriety encapsulates the idea. I mean, he said of himself in a past interview, "If standing up for my country makes me a villain in the eyes of some, then so be it." And the statement reflects his willingness to embrace controversy, prison, as part of his identity, and his activities continue to spark debate about free speech, nationalism, multiculturalism in the UK. And I think what's happened is he's managed to harness all that pro-Brexit vigour and frustrations about the fact that Brexit has not worked, and then turn it into this anti-immigrant, anti-Islamic obsession. And it is an obsession. He's a contentious figure in British society, and his potential return here, the organisation of marches, signals his commitment to his cause. But what is that cause? His personal motivation, his sense of duty, his desire for notoriety. What drives him? And what is his influence in this country? I think fundamentally, I don't think he's necessarily a bad person. But I think what he brings out in the crowds is something worrying, where one particular group of people is stigmatized, and this idea of radical Islam, as with every movement, Islam has gradations of followers, and it's I think the obsession that Tommy Robinson has got is wrong, and is misguided, and for example his republication of the Quran is absurd, quite absurd. But I feel sympathy for him. I feel concern for him. But ultimately, I think he is fundamentally wrong. He is mistaken.